Hi guys, welcome back to Crazy Booklady. I am Floor and today I'm going to share with you the books that I read in the month of September. I read a total of 8 books. The ratings vary from a 2-star to a 5-star, so yeah, and I had one DNF, so yeah, a pretty much varied month, but let's get into it. The first book that I've read was a book translated from German, and I read the Dutch translation of it, and that was Het Geheim van de Madonna by Philip Vandenberg. The English title is The Fifth Gospel, and this is about a document that people are willing to pay a lot of money for. There is this woman, Anne, that has recently become a widow, and her husband was involved with this document. And she wants to find out what the hell is going on and why people want to give it that amount of money. And yeah, the premise sounded really promising, but in the end, I wasn't really interested anymore. The ending was so bad, and it made me want to throw the book in the corner of the room and forget about it. So yeah, that's why I only gave it 2 stars. I was hoping to like it much more than I did, but unfortunately it didn't happen. So let's go on with another book that was also not that good, or at least not in my opinion. That was Bare to You by Sylvia Day. I wanted to try some more erotic fiction, and so I came up with the idea to try some Sylvia Day. This is about a woman called Eva Tremmel, and she is going to work at a new job. So then she meets someone who works in that building, or at least has his office there, named Gideon. And Gideon is the boss of many, many companies in the city. And he likes her, he's intrigued by her, and he wants to have sex with her. Not a relationship, just a sexual relationship. So, the problem for me was that Gideon is a dominant person. Because I have some bad experiences with that in my personal life, it was hard for me to read that, and that's why I only gave it 2 stars. It just wasn't for me. There are persons who really, really love this series by Sylvia Day, but for me, it didn't work. So I only gave 2 stars. The story was okay, but the domination was so hard to read for me, unfortunately. Then I read A Casual Vacancy by J.K. Rowling, and many people expected it to be the same, the same thing as Harry Potter. I knew going in that it wasn't, so I didn't expect anything, and I really, really loved it. It's about a small town called Peckford, and one of the counselors, Barry Fair brother, is dying out of nowhere. And then they have to choose someone else. But also you read a lot about the people who live there. So you read from multiple perspectives, and however, the characters are not likable at all. But still, you want to know what's going on and what's going to happen with them, and you see that you don't always know what happens behind someone's doors in someone's family, and that made me really like the story. And um, yeah, I was intrigued by how this community was built up and everything. So I really, really loved it. So yeah, I gave it 4 stars. Then I read Shadow Creek by Joy Fielding, and this is a thriller that is built around this family. You have the mother Valerie and her daughter Brianna, um, and her ex-husband is going to do a little trip with Brianna and his soon to be wife Jennifer. But he is coming later because he has to do some stuff at work, important stuff. So yeah, Valerie decides to ride Brianna and Valerie to the place they need to go. So that is already a weird situation, but there are murderers in the same area, or at least they have been murdering already, and they are getting closer. So yeah, all you want to know is how is this going to end, and what is going to happen, and who are the murderers, because at some point I thought I figured it all out, but I was so wrong. I really, really love this story. It was my first time reading a Joe Fielding book, but definitely not my last, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read a non-fiction book, which I DNF'd, which is pretty much rare for me, but anyway, this was a book about the Columbine shootings, written by a Dutch author. The title of it is Wij zijn, maar wij zijn niet geschrift, by Tim Cabé. It is a interesting story to begin with. The beginning was perfect, really interesting, but after that it were just bits of facts, and I rather would have seen it in a story-wise formula instead of like diary entries. So I didn't want to pick it up anymore because I got so bored by that part, which took the rest of the book. So I put it away, I DNF'd it, and I hope to find another book about this event, because it is really important to know about it, I guess. I mean, I didn't know anything about it, but I want to know all about it right now. So yeah, hopefully I will find another book that is better. Then I read Sarah's Key by Tatiana de Rosnay. Rosnay. I'm not sure how to pronounce her name. Anyone help me out? I have no clue. But anyway, I read the Dutch translation of it, which is called Hanaba Sarah. This is a World War II fiction book, and it takes place in Paris during a big razzia. And Sarah is getting arrested with her parents, but she locked her brother up in the closet. 60 years later, Julia, a journalist, has to write an article about this razzia, and she is going to find out what's happened, and by doing this research she gets to know about a family secret of her husband's family. So yeah, it's a really sad book, but such an important book, and honestly it is my favorite World War II fiction book so far. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I didn't cry, which I expected to do, but didn't happen. But it made such an impact on me, and I will remember it for like forever. Maybe, I don't know. It will stick with me for a long time. So yeah, it was really, really good. If you haven't read it yet, and I assume you do. But if you don't, just read it. It's such a good book. Yeah, I want to see the movie as well with my mom. I'm not really sure, but I believe I have watched it once. I mean, like years ago. Not sure though, but I think so because in the classroom we had a poster about the book and the movie. So I think I've watched it. If not, oh well. I am going to watch it with my mom and then we'll see if I recognize anything. But yeah, definitely one of my favorites of the year. Then a Dutch book which I got in exchange for a review, and that was Schaduwstrijder by Piotr Vreeswijk. It's weird to speak Dutch in between when you are speaking English. But anyway, Piotr Vreeswijk. This is his third book, and actually it's the third in a series, but you can read it as a standalone, which I did. And it's about a mega tomb in the Syrian desert. Susan Boyle is going to do the investigation about what's happened, and the case is actually bigger than you might think and what she thought it would be. So there is so much happening in this book. It's an action thriller, so duh. But really, when you think it's done for a bit, something else happens again. So you're continuously reading. You can't stop reading because you want to know how everything is going to round up and what is going to happen if the world is staying alive and all that jazz. So a really good book. I gave 4 stars. I'm curious to see what I think of his other 2 books. So yeah, maybe I'll get to it anytime soon. I'm not sure, but I really liked it. Last but not least, I read a book with Indonesian fairy tales. Yeah, also a Dutch translation. I don't really remember how I got it. I probably got it in a big pile of books that I got for free from a woman that was moving. Yeah, I think so. There's no name in it, so I don't know for sure. But anyway, all the islands have its own chapter, and so that's why you can see the differences between the fairy tales on every island, which was interesting, but most of them were pretty forgettable, at least for me. So I gave it 2 out of 5 stars because I only remember like 2 fairy tales or something. So it wasn't really for me. I'm not sure if it's me that I just don't like fairy tales, because I also read Arabian fairy tales, which I also gave 2 stars, or that I just haven't found my fairy tales yet. So yeah, one day I will find out. But unfortunately, this wasn't really for me, so I gave 2 out of 5 stars. These were all the books that I've read in the month of September. By the way, I am using my new camera and I am using the autofocus function, which is a bit annoying because it's constantly autofocusing with every move I make. And it makes noise, so a bit distracting. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, if you can even hear it or whatever. If so, I will change the settings next time, but this was a tryout for this new camera. So yeah. Anyway, let me know what you read in September. Have you found any new favorites or not? I don't know. If you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new, and I will see you soon with another video. Bye!